Hello dear students, welcome back. Hope you all are keeping fine and keeping yourself safe. Now today we are meeting to discuss the further few question answers of the chapter The Portrait of a Lady. And in the earlier two videos we have discussed the chapter in detail, and in the second part of the video we had discussed few questions which were given under the heading Understanding the Text. Today also we are going to discuss a few more question answers which are given in your book under the heading Talking about the Text. And I hope that you have seen the video and you have understood the chapter very well. It is a beautiful description of the relationship between the grandson and the grandmother, and how grandmother's simplicity and beauty left an indelible imprint in author's mind. So let's discuss few more question answers so that you can develop more better understanding about the text. So here are few more questions, dear students, related to the chapter, which are given under the heading Talking about the Text. Yesterday, in the second part of the video, we had discussed about understanding the text, these questions. Now today we are going to discuss this portion of the question answers. So in this, the first question which is given in your book is, the author's grandmother was a religious person. What are the different ways in which we come to know this? Well, yes, many a times in the chapter it has been portrayed that she was a very religious woman. She was always busy telling the beads of her rosary, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayers. She accompanied the author to the village school and sat in a temple and kept herself busy in reading scriptures. And on her way back, she fed the village dogs with stale chapatis. And she was distressed to know that there was no teaching about God in the city school, in English medium school, where the author had started going when they had shifted to the city. Further, it is given in the content that in the city, when the author had started going to the college and she was all alone at home, she used to sit by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. And though she fed the sparrows with breadcrumbs, and when the author came back home from abroad, she collected the women of her neighborhood and sang songs. And when he had gone to study abroad, right from sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. And further, the narrator recalls that even during the last few hours, she spent all her time praying and praying. So all these points very clearly describes that yes, she was a very religious woman. Now the next question is, describe the changing relationship between the author and his grandmother. Did their feelings for each other change? Now dear students, as we have already discussed in the chapter that when the author was a young boy, his parents shifted to the city, leaving him with his grandmother. And they were very good friends and spent all their time together. And she used to wake him up each morning, bathed him, dressed him, and it is given in the content that she used to plaster his wooden slate, gave him breakfast, and walked him to the school. And while he sat in the veranda learning, the grandmother sat inside the temple reading scriptures. And when they had both finished, they would walk back together. But once in the city, there was a turning point in their relationship. The only thing that remained unchanged was their common bedroom. And she could not accompany him to school as he went by the school bus. He was now in an English medium school, and where they taught Western science. So she could not understand English and did not believe in science. The fact that they were not taught about God and the religious scriptures made her unhappy. His learning music in school made her feel even worse. But it was when he went to the university, he got a separate room, and this snapped off their ties even further. So this was not deliberate, but the demands of the situation had this effect on their relationship. However, their feelings for each other never changed. When the writer was going abroad, she went to the railway station to see him off, but did not speak a word. She only kissed his forehead, and the writer cherished this as their last physical contact because he was going away for 5 years, and he was expecting when he'll come back, he will not see his grandmother again standing at the railway station receiving him. But when he came back, she was delighted to see him back, and she was there at the railway station. In the evening, she, to whom music had lewd association, she herself collected women from the neighborhood and beat the drum and sang for hours of the homecoming of the warriors. So for the very first time, she missed her prayers to celebrate the author's homecoming. And the next day, she developed a mild fever and died. So it was almost as if she had been waiting for the author's return. So all these incidents shows that no, there was not a slight change in the feelings for each other, and their sentiments, emotions, love, affection and bond was as same as it was when they were in the village. But in the due course of time and with the changing situations, yes, their distance had come. There was a distance in between them, but this distance did not affect their relationship, their feelings and their love for each other. So there was no change in their feelings. Now the third question is, would you agree that the author's grandmother was a person strong in character? If yes, give instances that show this. Dear students, the answer of this question is in yes. Yes, Khushwant Singh's grandmother was a strong woman whom he loved and admired. And, the incident that shows and this proves this is that when his parents went to the city, she took charge of him in the city, although she disapproved of certain things that he was taught in school, but she did not express it, though she was unhappy about it, what the subject was taught to him in the school, but she did not express it. She had the inner strength to withdraw quietly. And the writer also recalls with pleasure the moments when he was going abroad, when she went to the railway station to see him off, but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer, and she kissed his forehead silently. The strength of her character was also evident during the last few days of her life, and she knew that her end was near. She said that she was not going to waste any more time talking to them. She ignored their protest and lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads till the last moment. So a peaceful pallor spread on her face, and they knew that she was dead. So the way she accepted the inevitable just before her death shows the strength of her character and tells us that yes, she was a strong woman. The next question is, have you known someone like the author's grandmother? Do you feel the same sense of loss with regard to someone whom you have loved and lost? Now this is the question that you need to answer in your own, dear students. So if you yourself have gone through the same sense of loss, if you have lost someone whom you love the most, so in that context you need to narrate the answer of this question. So the answer of this question will vary from person to person, and you'll be writing in your own. Alright, the next question in the next portion of the exercise is thinking about language. And the questions given under this heading are very general questions, and these are not so pressing questions, I would say. Like these three questions are very general, and the answers of these questions will vary from person to person. Yes, in this portion we can discuss this first question only, that which language do you think the author and his grandmother used while talking to each other. So I think that they must have been talking in Punjabi, as the writer and his grandmother belonged to a Punjabi Sikh family, and moreover they were living in the village also. In the first phase, in the earlier phase of their life, they were living in the village. So they must have been talking in Punjabi. So this is a general idea that we can frame from the content. The rest of the question are not so pressing questions and they are not so important to discuss. So I'm leaving these 3 questions. So this is all about this chapter, dear children. We have discussed all the question answers also. I hope that you have understood the chapter very well. Now when the books are arranged, you go through the chapter yourself, have a self-reading. It will develop a better understanding about what we have discussed so far in the chapter. And we shall meet soon taking up the next chapter. Till then, goodbye and stay safe.